Screw it, I'm going to start 5 minutes early, as I tend to do. How's it going, folks? I'm going to wait a little bit for people to find their way in before I really start talking about the topic of the video. In the meantime, I feel like I should adjust the volume a little bit. It's coming in slightly hot. This should be a little better. I don't want it to peak or anything. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay, so as the title says, there's a minimalism rant incoming. There was unexpected interest in that. I'll wait a little bit longer before I start to pontificate, or whatever they say. Flapping my gums, shooting the breeze. There's so many really strange words for talking, aren't there? Words and phrases. Bloviating. That's a good one, too. A little bit on the negative side. It's been years. Why did YouTube hide you from me? I have no idea. The algorithm is a cruel overlord, is all I can say. Yapping is a new hotness. That's been around for a long time. Anyway, so in the last video, I casually mentioned that at one point I was about to make a minimalism video where I rant about it, but then realized that, the algorithm would not approve. But quite a number of people said, hey, but I want to listen to that. And I've been told by YouTube partner managers that supposedly low view counts on streams should not affect the performance of videos. I mean, in theory, like an individual video performing poorly shouldn't affect subsequent uploads either, but they clearly do, I can tell. So I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to do it because I generally tend to treat streams differently. I have a lower quality standard for streams than I do for videos. Just so you know what you're in for, right? Don't say you haven't been warned. All right? I can't edit this shit, so it's going to be scatterbrained. It is what it is. All right. So minimalism. I can understand minimalism in the sense that if you don't want to have a lot of stuff, if you want to limit the amount of clutter, I can very much understand that. For some people, it makes a lot of sense if they tend to move a lot for work or other reasons, or they tend to be nomadic. They want to own as little as possible. They want to have everything as clean and easy to maintain as possible, etc., etc. I get all that, right? But I'm a Victorian wallpaper kind of guy. And it's not that I want a bunch of clutter. I don't actually like clutter. Sometimes I produce it anyway because, ADHD and all that, but I don't really want too much stuff standing around gathering dust. I like display cases and, like those little, I don't know what you call that, those little display, not really globes, but just something you put on your stuff to make sure it doesn't get too dusty. That's all fine and good. But here's what I hate. I hate a home that feels like a hospital because everything is fucking white. There's not a single touch of warmth, anything like that. Everything is just flat, plain white color. There's no decorative touches whatsoever. Everything is just uniform and boring and depressing, and everything is just fucking cubes You know, there's just nothing interesting going on whatsoever. That's what I have a problem with, right? And it's such a shame because homes used to be gorgeous. I have a few examples of that for you, all right? So, let's start out with, what do I want to start with? Say this. There. There's a certain warmth in that, right? You know, it's wood. It has some dynamic shape, right? There's something happening. It's not just blocky. There's some. It's not even like particularly pompous or anything. I mean, this stuff here, sure, that is. But overall, like, there's not that much going on. There's just some slight decorative touches, right? And by the way, what I've got standing there, it also goes in that direction. You know, this kind of stuff. And when you look at, you know, this, for example, room, like I love this kind of stuff. This sort of, you know, wood paneling is amazing. Again, it has kind of a warm feeling, and this is not overloaded or anything. Like, this fairly simple overall. It doesn't have a ton of detail, but it looks so much better. It's so much more inviting. It actually feels like a home. You know what I'm saying? This kind of thing. There are several stages of minimalism ranging from intentional living to the aesthetic. Yeah, no, I get that. But generally, what you see in homes now, everywhere, all the damn time, is what I just talked about. You know, everything is white or off-white, you know, single color, you know, all the furniture is super simple and everything. Let me just show you some more of what I mean here. Wallpaper. I love me some wallpaper. If it can't be wood paneling, wallpaper is my second favorite. You know, just the pattern. It adds so much, right? And sometimes it's combined with a simple color, but at least it's a color. It's not just white, right? You have some decorative objects here. You don't even need to have that much. Like, you can get rid of some of the stuff here. In fact, even if you got rid of all of it, like everything that's standing here, you just take it off. You don't want it. You don't want the decorative stuff. You don't want the clutter. You don't want the dust, whatever. Fine. That still looks way better than the hospital look that you so often get, right? Glad you're talking about this. Sterile housing is very uncomfortable. Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Kipchak, if I pronounce that correctly. Lots of love from Poland. Love your work. Appreciate it. White is good for walls because it makes a rooms bright and lets the furniture shine. I do agree that it makes rooms brighter. Yes, sure. But at what cost? And here's the thing. You can have bright wallpaper that has some kind of pattern. I've seen plenty. You know, I've seen stuff that is generally white, but then it has like a little bit of off-white or gray or something pattern in there just to break it up a little bit. It's still going to be bright. It's still going to feel roomy, right? It's still going to reflect the light and all that, but it's going to not look like a hospital, all right? And yes, you can also have more windows. That's true. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. Right, this is also something oh wait, that's a video, hang on. We'll get to that here. No, that's not. This one. I love this atmosphere. Also, just interesting architecture. It's not just everything is just a block. You know, brutalism is especially guilty of that. Like, yes, it may be practical and efficient, but it looks awful. It looks atrocious. You know, this sort of thing where you just have some, you know, a curved protrusion or whatever. I'm not an architect. I don't know what this is actually called, right? But this sort of thing where, you know, the room curves outward and you have several windows. You have the stained glass. This is gorgeous, right? This is so nice. Why can't we have nice things? You find that in old Victorian homes and whatnot. My room doesn't even look like a hospital. It looks like a storage room in a factory. Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah. Having only the essentials helps make exiting your life situation faster. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. I acknowledge that. It's good for some people to have as little as possible, keep it simple so you can just pack it up and go, no problem. I get all that. But the architecture itself doesn't have to be shit. You know? It can still be interesting to look at. You know, even if you have to change location frequently, if you don't want to own that much, the home itself can still be warm and inviting and interesting to look at and all of that. Here's another nice example. It's such a, like, okay, I will say this was a dark room. This was one of the places we stayed in during the England trip. And yeah, it was pretty dark, not gonna lie. I don't actually mind that personally, but if you do, then yeah, you might need more windows and brighter colors and all of that. But you can do that, of course. You know, but this was such a character home. Good and bad, I will say. It had some downsides. You know, like very old, creaky floors and, you know, a little bit drafty and full of spiders, this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, older homes have their downsides, no doubt about it. But I was very glad to have stayed there. It was such a beautiful place, you know, with so much character. Wait, that's still the other one. This, you know, that was a bed. Super nice. There's just so much going on. It's simply just construct things as boring as possible because it's easy and affordable. Yeah, I get that. But the thing is, we have also come up with so many ways to make everything easier. The thing is, back in the day, people put this amount of effort into things when they had to do it by hand. Now we can just print out a bunch of shit, you know? It's so much easier. We can just, you know, stuff can be molded plastic instead of carved wood. You know, it doesn't look quite as good up close, but overall, it's still going to be nicer. There's so many ways to drastically reduce the costs and still have a very nice effect, right? Now even more so with 3D printing. And so I do have to point out, of course, that the examples that I'm using here are generally upper class. Like this is usually, like if you look at this, for example, wait, what the hell? Let's try that again. Gorgeous Victorian study. You know, absolutely. I love this kind of stuff. This is like home goals. I mean, okay, not really, because I wouldn't actually want to have an entire library because at that point, yeah, you pretty much need. I almost said servants. That's what they had back then, but you pretty much need cleaners to dust all that off frequently. It's too much stuff. I don't want to own that much stuff. But the look, you know, There's wallpaper that imitates it, which, yeah, isn't as nice, but you can still do that. You can just, instead of having all these books and stuff, you can just have wallpaper that at least pretends you got that, right? And this is, of course, upper class, or at the very least middle class, right? And a lot of these really gorgeous homes are, it's the rich. But here's what gets me. This is what a rich home looks like now. This is like some millionaire house. Look at this. Look at this. This is fucking dog shit. I mean, excuse my French, but just in comparison, this looks like ass. All right? This is all, again, hospital feel. It's all like hideously plain white. There's nothing going on. It's lifeless. This is someone who has money. They can afford stuff. But yeah, it's soulless. It has nothing. Devoid of anything interesting. What the hell is that? This is what I'm talking about. Dull, soulless. It's like luxury apartment. Like, come on. This stuff, this costs millions? This modernist prison? You gotta be kidding me. Right? Isn't this atrocious? Looks like a modern McDonald's, yeah. And McDonald's it also looks a lot worse than it did in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, you pay for the view and location, not the house. Like, yes, it's bright, okay, but that's mainly because it has a shit ton of windows. You can put a lot of windows in there, and you can still have something that looks appealing. It's got a little bit, right? This is already an improvement. Like, at least, like, you got some more complex shapes. When you look at the ceiling, for example, there's something going on. It's still too gray and white for me, but okay. It's not quite as appalling. At least there's a little bit of character to it. You know what I mean? Did I have another one? Yeah, this. I'm offended. I'm offended by how bland this is. For a super expensive place. Like, why? Why would I pay millions for this shit? If I had millions to spend on a home, it better look like more like a Victorian home than this crap. Now, if you actually like, no offense to you personally, if you actually like it, taste is subjective. I'm not here to trash your opinion. I'm just here to express mine, all right? And feel free to trash it, all of that, that's fine. It's just for my taste, this is horrible. Cold and dead. This, on the other hand, and this was actually the lighting they had there. This is not like bad white balance in the camera or whatever. They had this sort of pink lighting in there. This is what rich people used to have. Rich people used to have taste. They've always been, rich people have always been scummy and exploitative and all that, but at least they used to have taste. You know what I mean? That's the good stuff. Anything else? Right, there's another one of the modern ones. Like in comparison, like, oh, this is... It makes me retch. This is... I mean, this is not one of the worst ones. At least there's a little bit of contrast. At least, you know, there's some black as well and some dark brown floors. Like, this is already an improvement. And it still sucks compared to old school homes, in my opinion. This was, wait, hang on. This was at the Jack the Ripper Museum in London. You know, look at the wallpaper. This is not my favorite kind of wallpaper. There's better ones, but, you know, still nice. Yeah, so this is also a darker room. But the thing is, I actually like darker rooms. They have a cozy feel. I don't mind that at all. But this room also had 0 windows. So you can, of course, make that brighter. You know, if you had this room with a bunch of windows, it would actually be pretty bright. If that's what you want, it's not a problem. And speaking of, yeah, I agree, it's not too dark. And speaking of the Jack the Ripper Museum, here's something that really underlines my point about rich people having no taste. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, here. Hang on, just gotta put that up here. This was a poor room. You know, this was an example of the kind of room that prostitutes would have lived in. You know, some of whom were victims of Jack the Ripper. Like, the room's in disrepair. And there were, you know, several women crammed into this one room. It was small and everything. But look at this. Look at the wallpaper. And the curtains and everything. This is, you know, poverty right there. And yes, the bed is horrible and all that. But even this room has more life. There's more going on. Even this, as simple as it is, doesn't that tell you everything? That's what I mean. I just hate, yeah, it has character. I just hate that homes now are just so devoid of any care, of any life and soul, and that's really the only way I can put it. It's just so cookie cutter, it's just so factory, it's so hospital. I haven't gotten to the Temu swords yet. I'm still on the minimalism rant. So, I guess there are good kinds of minimalism, but just this kind of stuff. And this is recent. There's another thing I want to show you. From the Museum of the Home in London. Let's see, where is it? Right. Got the video open. I just gotta find where that part starts. I mean, first off, there's some older stuff. You know, that's gorgeous. And this is, of course, again, for rich people, like super fancy craftsmanship, high end, and all that. This is all for the rich, of course. But I like that they went through different time periods and, you know, showed typical rooms. So this is Victorian. Oh wait, is that slightly before? No, I think it should be Victorian already. This is earlier, so this is going back in time. At 1790, also got the wallpaper. You know, just all super nice, warm feel, all of that. You go further back, it's a bit simpler, interestingly, right? Don't have wallpaper, but it's still, and you have white walls. You know, you can have a fairly bright room, you can have white walls, but there's still something to break up the monotony, right? 1595? No, 1695. Yeah, again, simple colors like some kind of beige or whatever, off-white. Green curtains to break it up a little bit. You know, nice chairs. And now, here's the good stuff. When was it? 1630. Wood paneling. That has the right kind of feel. Love that kind of stuff. You know? Then where are we at here? That must be 19th century here. That's basically the opposite of minimalism. That's pretty much maximalism. It's everything is crammed full, right? And I totally get if that's not your thing. You know, if this is too overloaded for your taste. Sure, I get that. I like that. Personally, I love this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, it would be a pain in the ass to maintain. I'll grant you that, but it's a really nice feel. And then we're going ahead in time, and what's this? I think this was 70s, if I remember correctly. Did I grab that? No. I think this was 70s, maybe 80s. There's still more going on, right? Wallpaper was still common in the 70s and 80s. This is simpler than the older stuff, of course, but still has a little bit more. Like those simple tiles, you know, not quite my thing. I think this is the 70s. That looks a lot like 70s. And again, quite different. I mean, if you think about your grandma's home, right, this kind of thing. That's actually an interesting home. That's a place I want to be. This is 90s, very obviously. You can see that immediately. 90s computer setup and all that. It got a whole lot worse then. You know, everything was simpler, but at least, you know, there's the use some color here and there, you know. But it was already pretty bad. This is already the kind of minimalist stuff. Super simple furniture and all that. You know, I like the 90s, but that part, you know, it ruined it. It ruined homes already. For the most part. That's what I'm talking about. Minimalism be like, ew, detail. Yeah, right. Yeah, 50s, 60s also still look good. My PC from 2008, yeah. Way too busy and cluttered for me. Fair enough, but do you see what I mean with the, like, a home that feels warm and inviting and is interesting as opposed to just blocks and slabs of gray and white everywhere? Like, you can do fairly minimalist or minimalist-ish. Like, you don't have to have clutter, right? But it can still be interesting. I think people live more transient lives now. Yeah, like I said, I've acknowledged that earlier, where like you can not own much. It can be easy to move. You can simplify things, but still, the vibe overall. Like you can have wallpaper in homes. You can have more interesting interior design when it comes to the walls and ceilings and all of that, and furniture. Like every place needs furniture, at least some. And now you have, like, for example, okay. I don't actually dislike IKEA that much. But a lot of their furniture is part of the problem. That's what I mean. Let me see here. I'll just pull up some chair or whatever. Yeah, this for example. This chair is cancer to the eyes. There's nothing interesting going on whatsoever. And there's worse. There's even simpler stuff. Yeah, I mean, this, for example. Yuck. Hideous. It's like, you've seen the furniture. You know, the furniture I showed earlier, the chairs, that combine, or compared to this. Ugh. Ugh. You know? Curved toenail chair. You're right about that, yeah. That's chair for birds. Yeah, it doesn't look comfortable either. I mean, to be fair, some old furniture isn't really comfortable either. Like simple wooden chairs with no padding or anything, like no cushions. Yeah. But they look better. And then, of course, you can go all the way. You know, that's for the filthy rich nobility. They, of course, went crazy. But I said, the equivalent of that in our, you know, neo-feudalist corporate dystopia crap that we've got going on here, you have the equivalent of that. You have the filthy rich. They don't have taste like that. They really don't. You know what I mean? That's ugly. Banned. No, I'm joking. You're entitled to your own opinion and your taste. I vehemently disagree, but you're entitled to it. The same way as I am. You know? I mean, Victorian fashion is also quite nice. Not everything, but a lot of it. No, wait, there's still that. Here's another one. It's a nice feel. You know, I'd much rather live in that than in one of these, you know, corpo nightmare hospitals. Or prisons, rather. Prison really fits. A lot of homes now, feel more like prisons. And don't get me started on offices. That's a display, not a realistic room. No, they lived like that. I mean, yes, this one is arranged. Of course it is. But there used to be rooms that were kind of similar. Maybe not as crammed full. This, of course, is intended to show off as much as possible. But elements of that were, you know, incorporated into homes. That's what I mean, you know? Let's see what else we got. I mean, I've already shown you quite a lot, so I don't just want to keep harping on and on about the same thing. Because I've made the point already. Yeah. We need more castle houses with arch stained glass windows, yeah. And you know what also bothers me about the whole thing is that we keep getting less for more. like housing prices are completely insane. So like you have to pay more and more and more and more, and rent. This is about almost getting political here, but I want to avoid politics. But everybody knows the trend that has been happening. The prices just go up, 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 up. But it's basic trash what you're getting, Anyway, so that's why I have purple walls. In case you were wondering. Housing prices make me foam at the mouth. Yep. Yeah, true. Inflation is economics, not politics. It's true. There's just a political angle to it, where all this shit has been caused by wealth transfer from the low and middle class to the filthy rich. That's the political part. Anyway. I think that's about enough on that topic. I just want to read some more comments here. And then, by the way, more super chats are highly encouraged. There's only one so far after, how long have I been going? A bit over half an hour. Not that it matters. Like, I set up some goals, but I don't really expect to meet them. It's just, super chats definitely help with keeping everything going. So much encouraged, but only if you're in a financially comfortable position, of course. Goes without saying, but I want to be explicit about that. If we're talking about older architecture, I'd love to have an inner courtyard with cloisters. Oh, speaking of that sort of thing, can I find that right now? Hang on for a second. Oh, where was that? I'm looking for a specific picture right now. I just don't know if I can find it on top of my head here. Not there. Not there. There. Which is my favorite picture? Yeah. Old monastery ruins. With a courtyard and a tree inside. Old tree. I love that. One of my favorite pictures. And there's a better one. Here. Awesome. Thank you, Overvivid. Live streams only work for certain kinds of genres. Stay warm up there. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what genres live streams work for or not. Thanks, Straka Zulu. Just spent the day in a well-decorated chapel. Yeah, there you go. That is a nice tree, yeah. It sure is. Do you think nature goes against minimalism? Yeah, of course. There's way too much detail and complexity and stuff, And a lot of landscapes in nature are rather overloaded, Thank you, Mootvin. I totally agree with your statements regarding aesthetics. Bring back ruins in style. Ruins, yeah. Let's make more ruins. Well, I mean, that's a different story. People don't want to spend money on maintenance and repairs. Everything's cookie cutter. Yeah, no, I get it. But I do think there are ways to do it better that are still low maintenance. You know? Love those, but hard to make those because of roots lifting the house. Yeah, true. No, I'm not advocating for courthouses with trees or courtyards with trees everywhere. It's just something nice because I've already been showing you nice things, you know? Nature abhors a vacuum. Yeah, sort of. Nayad has an idea. Have a community day every month where you live stream subscriber submissions to your subreddit, like showcasing artwork of swords and stuff for people to admire and discuss. That's a good idea. I might do that. Thank you. How do I read that username? I don't know where to separate that. I'm just going to call you Ton, if that's okay. Instructions clear, more super chats. Loved your Tachi video. You got me to Japanese swordsmanship, weirdly enough. Yeah, that's good. I like to get people into whatever kind of swordsmanship or into swords in general. Or, I mean, I just like to get people into things they find fun. It doesn't have to be swords. You know, if you're going to get into maximalist interior design because of the stream, great. You know, I just like to expose people to different ideas. That kind of thing. Okay. I'm already noticing, you know, what energy I had is being burned up pretty quickly. So I'm just going to get to the other part. Here. Let's look at what swords Temu has. By the way, I am not endorsing this website in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I very much discourage you from ordering from them. Like, ethically, this is terrible. There's a reason why the prices are so low, right? And the quality, from what I've seen, is dog shit. So I would never recommend anyone buy anything from this website. Just to put that out there. All right? I'm just looking at this to make fun of things. What the hell is this? Okay. Sparky stuff. I like that. Even in the pictures, you know, the promotional stuff on the website that's supposed to sell things, even there you can see how there's a bunch of cheap plastic that looks terrible. That's amazing. I mean, for $27, what can you expect? The Sparky thing might be fun for 30 seconds, but other than that, Thank you, Bronze Age Caveman. Watch Wrath of Feral's Rainbow? The what? What is that? Oh, and thank you, Gilgalad, as well, for Mace versus Flail video. It must be Team Flail because Hussites are part of Czech history. Yep, you got your bias. I got mine. I mean, sort of. I found the results of the test pretty interesting. Yeah, let me just briefly talk about that since we're already on the topic. So I finished recording the test yesterday. I wanted to have that ready today, but I couldn't manage. I was so exhausted and in pain and just a wreck from all that I couldn't. I edited as much as I could in the evening yesterday, and then today in the morning, as soon as I got up, I started editing. And I wanted to get the patron video done first, not just because it's patrons, but also because there was something in the final video that I wanted in that video as well. So the exclusive patron video is the first attempt, the first day that I did that, which didn't go the way I wanted. There were a few problems that I had to iron out, and so that's like behind the scenes extra content, and then there's some clips from the second day in there as well. So that's why I wanted to get that done first and put that up. I haven't posted the link yet because it's still processing. But yeah, that's on, and the remaining editing, I don't know yet when I'll be able to finish that, but yeah, within a few days probably, and then that'll be up. And that's interesting. Definitely some unexpected things, and even though it was rough to get through it, in my current state, I guess, I'm glad that I did it because it was very interesting, and nobody has done that to my knowledge, and there were some interesting results. So I'm not gonna spoil anything. You'll just have to wait for that video. All right. Let's see. Oh boy, Lord of the Rings wall hanger for $97. The handle is made of metal. Is it now? Wow. Some kind of metal, huh? Those have got to be bot reviews. It's like, come on, guys. All but 5.0, yeah. I'm going to believe that, 100%. No trickery going on here whatsoever, right, guys? Right? This is legit, man. What do we have here? 94. Not a toy. Unpolished martial arts sword. Stainless steel. That's a great sign. Stainless steel sword for 94 bucks. You can smell the quality. How quickly is that going to rub off, do you think? It's like, it looks neat, kind of, in the picture. Like, I mean, I just promoted maximalism, basically, or whatever you want to call it. Not minimalism. This is not minimalist. This has a lot going on, right? I'm just very worried about this being pot metal or some kind of crap. Like, it looks too good for the price. Shall we put it that way? Oh no, there's a medieval sword. European medieval sword. Ooh, yay. Oh no. That does not look ergonomic. I mean, I'm surprised that the guard has some kind of detail there. But, ooh. That looks sketchy. It barely even looks like steel. I mean, it is 304 stainless steel. Oh boy. Amazing. Again, 5.0. What would you say, what are the odds in percentage that these are legit reviews? Throw down some percentages in the chat. Thanks, Cranky. I'm not here using an ad blocker. Merry Christmas. It's a bit early for that, but Merry Christmas to you as well. 0%, 11%, 5. Minus 2% with a 2% margin of error, like that. 5%. 0.1%. No, 0.01, even worse. Yeah. Doesn't look that bad, come on. You think? Are you sure? I mean, feel free to call me elitist or whatever, but oof. You know what? This I'm not even going to talk shit about because, like, yeah, okay, this is 100% decorative wall hanger, whatever, $30. Yeah, you don't want to spend that much on something that you just want because it looks cool. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy fantasy, whatever, but in the pictures, it looks decent enough for the price, you know, like, okay. $189. Oh no, come on. A Buster sword made of stainless steel. It's like, if you just want a decorative wall hanger and you want a Buster sword, why not? Why not foam or plastic or something? It's not going to look that much worse, probably. Yeah. I've seen and handled swords like these, and they're rough. Like, they have basically no edge. They don't cut for shit at all. And they rattle or start rattling pretty quickly. They have a very underwhelming handle. The blades feel weirdly flimsy. It's like, on the one hand, there is obviously swords that are too heavy to be usable, but on the other hand, there's also suspiciously light, and that's what these tend to be. Whether the blade feels like it has, oh my goodness, what is even going on there? It's just a gaping hole. I guess that's where the nut is. Wait, is it just a weird effect? Because it seems to be something sticking out. It just looks like there's just a hole there. Anyway. Yeah, why not decorate the walls instead of hanging something on there, right? Thanks, Mikhail. Filled with epoxy, you bet. You can bet that it's filled with epoxy. These are still around, these Braveheart swords. You know, based just on the movie. Has nothing to do with history. I mean, the movie doesn't either. Yeah. Wall hangers. Do not hit anything with that. Ever. I mean, to be fair, it is meant as a wall hanger. You know what? I can't even really say anything about that. I should really be looking at stuff that's presented as functional. Like this, for example. $265 for a longsword. You know, it's decent enough price. Oh, the wrap is terrible. I hate when it's this sort of thing where it's just a leather strip instead of, it needs to be a whole piece of leather that's wrapped around the whole thing and then tied with string as the glue dries. This is just a strip, a long strip that's wrapped around, and that never feels right. I've had that kind of stuff and it just does not feel right. The shape of the handle doesn't look right either. You've got, can I get a better picture of the edge? Because I'm pretty sure I'm seeing a massive secondary bevel there. The pictures aren't really close enough to tell. I mean, you know, it's not the worst thing ever. This might not be super terrible, but who knows? Who knows with this stuff? What is this? Never mind. I don't even know what's going on here. Oh no. You pieces of shit. Look at this. What is that? What is this? Zombie Tools Decapitan. They ripped it off. Look at this. You scummy fucks you. Scummy, scamming. Just, oh man. But look at how terrible it is too. They messed up the leather wrap. The rivets look like shit. Oh no. Tell Zombie Tools to sue them? Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna. Yep, they straight up ripped off Zombie Tools. No, of course they don't care. And at $57. Oh no, this is atrocious. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen. Come on. This is such trash. To be stealing Zombie Tools like that and take a giant shit on their work, I hate this. So another reason to never order anything from this shitty website if you needed another one. And you know what? I bet most of these are stolen from someone. And another one, Zombie Tools Difalls. They ripped that off too. What a bunch of scumbags. And they copied it. I mean, I was going to say 1-to-1. They can't do that. They don't have the skill. But this is one-on-one, like, total ripoff. Poorly done. Piss poorly done. But it's a very obvious ripoff. Down to the finish. They even pour... Oh, no. Look at the grind marks. They poorly copied the finish, too. This is atrocious. I am legitimately pissed off at this. Thanks, Gilgalad. I know it would be throwaway money, but I have a crazy idea. During future stream, I find so decent sort on Temu. A chat would help play the purchase with donations, and then no. I appreciate where you're going with this. You know, I get the idea, but no, I refuse to support them in any way, shape, or form. I will not give them a single dollar, not a single cent. I would feel dirty for giving them any money whatsoever. Absolutely not. It's like, yeah, would it be fun to test this stuff and break it and reveal just how terrible it is? Sure, but I would still be giving them money. No, I don't want to. Thanks, Hunter Collins. There's a company that preys on ignorant military personnel by charging upwards of $1,800 for a wall hanger and a Word doc to act as a certificate of lineage. Yikes. Oof. Man. I bet this was a stolen design too. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, these are, for that matter, those Braveheart swords. What I put it in air quotes is based on the movie, so whatever. It is Braveheart. Let's see if there's another zombie tools, isn't it? Well, I don't think Zombie Tools actually has that as a model. Maybe I'm wrong, but they clearly just stole their design overall. Now, here's the thing. Getting inspired by something is fine. If you're inspired by Zombie Tools and you want to make something similar, kind of zombie apocalypse themed, okay. You know, if you like the finish and you want to make, but do it your own fucking work, all right? Like, put your own spin on it. Just create something new. This is literally just a stolen copy. That's all it is. This kind of stuff really gets my blood pressure up, you know? I bet there's more. I mean, okay. Conan sword. You just know they don't have the license for that. You got a license for that? No, I mean like the film license. You just know. Thanks, Craigie. I uninstalled Tick Squawk for showing me too many pot metal swords. That and the AI lady scams. Oh yeah, it's bad. It's gotten real bad. I bet there's more stuff like that. I bet there's more like... Wait, what? Okay, this is actual plastic, at least. Because like a steel sword for that price, I'd be like, what? Wait, is it foam or... Okay, foam, not plastic. I mean, for a foam sword even, that's suspiciously cheap. So I don't even know about that. You know what? I bet they've also ripped off a bunch of knives. That's pretty much guaranteed. Let's see what we can find. There's guaranteed to be Spyderco design rip-offs and who knows what. This stuff looks distinctive. I wouldn't be surprised if this is someone's design. I don't know for sure. I don't remember having seen that, but I would bet money on it straight up. Oh, I know that. Isn't that a Gerber? I feel like it's a Gerber machete. I'm pretty sure I've seen exactly that. Of course they ripped that off. Of course they fucking did. I bet this entire page is full of stuff. Just looking for things that I recognize for sure at a glance. I mean, I bet you they have K-bar knockoffs as well. That looks suspicious as well. Oh, wait. Isn't that cold steel's? Oh, yeah, 100%. That's cold steel right there. That's cold steel's karambit trainer. Of course. Of course they knocked that off, too. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? It's like the only positive thing you can say is that from what I can see here, at least they are not copying the company logo as well and like straight up counterfeiting and trying to pretend it's that. But it's still stolen designs. You know what? I don't even want to look at this shit anymore. I got pissed off enough already. Gerber Bear Grylls knife? Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Awful. Yeah. Do you think that's what Sortier does? Was Sortier the one that that ripped off Matt Easton's design, or was it? I sometimes have trouble keeping them apart because there are a bunch of websites that have these kind of weird names. Like I got the katana I got is I think it's Sordis, right? Let me just double check on that. Yeah, that's Sordis. Yeah, right. Yeah, Sortier is the one that stole designs. I'm not aware of Sordis doing that. I don't think. Yeah, that's right. Sordis has actual swords from different manufacturers. They have Hanwei, they have Everest swords, they have a bunch of others, Kingston Arms. I don't think they have stuff that they claim to be theirs. It's actually someone else's work. Yeah. Time for a palette cleanser? Yeah. Do you have something else nice to show you as a palette cleanser? I mean, I have so many photos. I have so many photos. Let me just look around here a little bit. So many photos. Oh, here's something nice. Something fun. See this guy here? I was sitting at that table and there was this, no, I was going to say crow. I think that's a rook, if I'm not mistaken. And he was just standing there just eyeing me. I was, you know, eating like a sandwich or something. Or, no, I think I got a protein bar or something. And he just kept eyeing me. And... yeah, just look at that. And it was like this for like literally at arm's length. I could have touched this bird. Oh, right. Best thing is, on my right side, this guy. On my left side, That one. They were both eyeing me. Right side, left side. They both like, hey guy, human. Hey human, you got something? And yeah, I did feed them. Few little bites of protein bar. And the funny thing is, I was like, I raised my hand up to throw it at him. I say he, I don't know. I can't sex birds just by briefly looking. At least not those. With some, it's obvious with the colors and everything. But in that case, I don't know. And it was just like beak open, like, yep, food goes here. Like, it was literally expecting me to just drop that right in the beak. That was pretty funny. Corvids. They're bold and smart. Yeah, ravens have different beaks. That's not a raven. Did you pay the crow tax? Yes, the corvid tax. You gonna eat that? Yeah. I asked LK Trin to produce me a sparring version of their Beiyang saber. What do you think? Let me just... I don't remember on top of my head what that looks like. I'm just gonna take a look. Oh, right, yeah. That military saber. Interesting, yeah. That should be quite interesting to spar with. Good idea. I approve of that. S-class bird. Yeah. You know, I'm just thinking, I don't really like the current layout of the stream here. Yeah, YouTube changed it. Like the entire layout is different now. Now I have trouble finding stuff. Not a fan, you know? In fact, I can't even see, like, there used to be a summary of the total amount of super chats. Doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. I mean, I set up a goal for this. We're not even halfway there. It's okay. I just wanted to talk about this, you know, minimalism stuff and poke some fun at Temu swords. Words. Hard. But I didn't expect to get this pissed off by that, you know? And I was hoping to kind of balance the budget a little bit because I failed to put up the video that I wanted to. You know, like I said earlier, the flail versus mace video was supposed to be up today. I just couldn't manage in time to finish it. So, of course, the algorithm is not going to take that kindly. The stream is not really going to make up for that, but I wanted to try at least and do something. Because, like, I can do a stream in an hour or two An hour or two of editing is nothing. That's barely any progress. Takes way longer than that. Thank you, Craigie. Here's some cash to make a better flail. You need to reinforce the part connecting the chain. Oh yeah, I already did that. I got a heavy-duty screw eye. It's a great term, isn't it? And it's funny. It's called an eye bolt, but it's a screw eye. Shouldn't it be an eye screw? I mean, they probably decided against calling it that for obvious reasons. Eye screw? What? And yeah, that went perfectly well. I mean, like I said, the tests are done. I got that done yesterday. There's a lot of editing to be done. The Patreon video is done. After I end the stream, I will publish that for YouTube members and patrons. So if you want bonus content like that, I'm pointing at my crotch, but anyway, links in the description if you want to become a patron. Thank you, Knar. Appreciate it. So the kinds of videos that I tend to put up for members and patrons are extended edits of videos where, like, in the editing process, I usually do a first edit and then a second one where I compact it some more. If I find that the first edit is 20 minutes long, I tend to shorten it to 15 or something like that. Or if it's like, sometimes it's like 18 or so, and then I shorten it to like 12 or something like that, you know. Just for the lower attention span on YouTube in general. But then I put up the longer version that doesn't have ads for patrons, and then sometimes there's like behind the scenes stuff. Sometimes like a vlog where I talk about how things are going behind the scenes, or, you know, stuff like this where, you know, okay, it's the first attempt. It's still interesting. It's just that I can't put up both because that's algorithmic self-deletion. You know, the S word is one of those that are blacklisted on YouTube. Yeah. Thanks, Hunter Collins. Purple Heart Armory shopping spree. Normally I'd say yes, but currently that wouldn't make much sense because I haven't been able to spar in a while. First it was the injuries, now it's the whole fatigue crap on top of it, so yeah. I'm doing what I can to try to figure out what to do about it, see specialists and everything, and it's going to happen in February. I'm going to go on a journey. You know, I have a bunch of specialist appointments. Hopefully someone can figure something out. But anyway, I don't want to complain about all that. You could always film other people sparring if they're willing. Yes. The problem is, I don't really want to talk about this, but it's just, I'm just going to leave it at, my health has gotten bad enough that it's even hard to just stand and you know, operate the camera for longer periods of time. Everything is extremely exhausting and hard to manage. I mean, I guess I can sit down behind the camera. I might be able to figure something out, but it's rough. It's been rough to function, and social interaction also takes quite a bit of energy from me. So yeah, I said I don't want to complain. I don't want to just be like, oh, I'm struggling, this and that and the other. Like, who gives a shit, right? Like, you're just here to watch my stuff. However I make it, whatever it takes, that's none of your concern. I don't want to, bother you with that. There's €5 worth of coins in my pocket. That's all my money. I would donate if my financial situation was better. I totally understand that. Don't ever feel bad for that, please. As much as I appreciate any kind of support, I really only want it to come from a place of financial security and everything. I understand that a lot of people are struggling. I hate ads. I hate being recommended videos I already watched. I hate YouTube not pushing my videos. Relatable. Very relatable. I have a ruined shoulder thanks to getting T-boned by a stolen car. Yikes. Sorry to know that, man. I was going to say I hope it heals, but you already said it's ruined, and I know... Excuse me. I know how that goes. When an injury just refuses to heal no matter what you do. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Don't worry about videos. I mean, thank you. I appreciate the sentiment, but that's like saying don't worry about builds. It's like when it's your livelihood, you kind of have to worry about it. You can't just be like, well, I'm going to take off 3 months to try to heal and just chill and all that. And like, yeah, okay, I could do that, but then there's consequences, More talking head videos always welcome. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to stick to more. Cause like, man, doing this test, even though it's like a mechanical setup where I don't even have to swing shit myself, even so, that was rough. That just showed me how bad it's gotten. I'm very glad that I did that, but oh man, I don't know if I want to do that again anytime soon. Until I get better. Thanks, J Legends. Hope you're feeling okay. Also, Gazonite? The what? What donation service gives you the highest percentage? Direct donation via PayPal will be it. It's in the description. The Secret was written by someone with a trust fund. The rest of us have to worry. That makes sense. For anyone who doesn't know, it's basically this concept, this idea that you manifest things in your world. Like the more you focus on something, the more you think about something, etc., the more you're asking the universe to provide, and that's what you're going to get. If you keep focusing on positive, you're going to get more positive. If you dwell on negative, you're going to get more negative. In other words, total New Age bullshit. And that coming from like a trust fund baby or whatever, that makes so much sense. It's like, yeah, guess what? When you're rich, you can't just engage in wishful thinking. You can just wish for things to happen. And, oh, would you look at that? It happened. Yeah. No shit. No shit. You do some pretty well acting? Huh? What? What acting do I do? Well, you think I'm acting right now? If that's the case, then you don't understand my weirdness, I guess. No, like just now the way you mocked rich people? Oh, that? I wasn't even really acting. If I was acting, it would be something, oh yes, the, No, I had a brain hang up for a moment. Let's try that again. Oh yes, the universe shall provide. All I must do is ask. If I put all my focus onto it, my mental energy will be directed into a beam of pure productivity, and then I shall accomplish anything I set my mind to. I will get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and start manifesting success. Oh, yes. That's acting. Totally over the top, but it is acting. There's that. And then there's also... Okay, hang on. Gotta fix my posture. Man, poor people are just fucking lazy, bro. They just gotta put it together. They just gotta really invest all their faculties into becoming more successful. They gotta man up. You know, all this chronic illness is all fucking bullshit, man. It's all excuses. They gotta really just put their backs into it. They gotta pull themselves up by their bootstraps, man. And they gotta invest in some fucking crypto, bro. And, you know, AI is going to figure it out. Okay, no, fuck this, I'm done. Whatever. That's enough. Things Harg Pro. I joined a woman-led HEMA class because of your interview with women in HEMA from 2020-ish. You'll always be my favorite YouTuber. That's awesome. Yeah. The thing is, you know, I've talked about that before. You know, like people look down on women in HEMA. It's pretty stupid. I mean, first off, this is a hobby. Okay, like anyone should feel free to engage in it. And second, even like this dismissive attitude of, oh, women can't fight. Does strength matter? Absolutely. Especially when it comes to unarmed, you know, like any unarmed martial arts, especially things like wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Does size, you know, height and weight and strength matter? 100% yes, it does. But weapons are force multipliers, and it doesn't take that much. you know? It's like you can take a small sword in like a limp-wristed pinch grip and do this, and it'll go in. It'll stab someone. You know, like this. And it's all about structure and technique. Again, strength matters, all right? Particularly in the sense that strength, like explosive strength, translates to speed. I fought some really strong guys who were hella fast. They would hit you before you have a chance to react. It's like the moment you're like, oh shit, he's doing, boom, you're already struck. Right, so that matters. But it's not, you're not totally outclassed. Or no, hang on. Being at a strength disadvantage doesn't mean you can't win. Like, I fought plenty of dudes who were crazy strong, and I wouldn't lose just because they were stronger, you know? If they were also on the same skill level or more skilled, then yeah, they had an advantage, but if you're more skilled, it doesn't matter that much. Even if it's the same skill, it doesn't make a huge difference unless it's a truly massive difference in strength. And if it goes to grappling, that's a different story. If you're good at avoiding grappling, which is a lot easier to do with weapons than unarmed, then yeah, anyway. That's quite a tangent. Thanks, Hunter. You got me into historical accuracy with your Dark Souls review and also introduced me to Hellish Court. Nice. Glad to know. I've heard David from Sellsword Arts is like in the top 100 saberists in the world. Is that true? Do they have a ranking for that? I don't know if it's true. I wouldn't be surprised. And yes, there are HEMA rankings. Absolutely. I would not be surprised at all. He is very skilled and hella fit. If there was like a tournament of sword YouTubers, I would bet money on him placing in the top 3. In fact, I might even put money on him getting first place. It would be fascinating to see a sparring match between David and Matt Easton, I mean. They're both very good. Huh. My Iaido sensei formed his own association because of how women were treated in his old one. Huh. That sucks, but also good on him. Matt has much more experience. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Matt has more experience, but David is has more athleticism. Not that I'm talking shit about Matt in any way. Like, he's clearly fit and all, but David seems to be on a whole different level. Like, he's crazy strong and fast and athletic. I'm late. How's your health? Don't ask. I mean, I talked about it earlier. It's not good. Short version. Would you go to a sword YouTuber tournament? Right now, no. Generally, yes. If I was in better health, I would. But right now, with how horribly the chronic fatigue is flared up. I can barely get through everyday life, let alone a HEMA tournament. It sucks to even admit that, but it is what it is. I can't lie about it. I mean, I could. I could bullshit you, but I'm just not like that. Hopefully I'll recover eventually, but we'll see. Off to a doctor next year. Yep, I've got that planned. A medical trip for February. Gonna see a bunch of specialists. Even gonna get a full body MRI. There would be no benefit to pretend at this point. Yeah, I know. It's like... Even though it's not my fault, I do feel ashamed for it, you know. I don't like to be a wreck exactly. I mean, who would? The thing is, being fat, I can blame myself for, to an extent. You know, but this, in fact, this is one of those cases where, like, it would be easy to assume that my health is bad because I'm fat. But it's more I'm fat because my health is bad. It goes the other direction. Because, like, not being able to recover from exercise, it's not exactly helpful for that kind of thing, you know? And all the injuries that don't heal. That stream I was watching, you sounded like you were actually dying. I was slightly worried there. Yeah. The thing is, what happened there was I pushed myself too much and didn't rest enough. I was just being too stubborn. I was being stubborn yesterday too. But then after I overreached, I knew that I had to rest. There was no other way I couldn't keep going. And that's what I've been doing today too. I've just been resting, you know. This is also tiring, like the mental activity and everything, and trying to be entertaining or engaging in some kind of way. But at least I'm still resting physically. You know, that's why I'm sitting. I'm usually, you know that, like I've always done streams standing up or sometimes even using a treadmill. It's too much now. Anyway, let's not talk about that. I hate being whiny, you know, like even if I'm just explaining what's going on, it feels like I'm complaining, and I don't want to do that. You know? I can't always even digest because of CFS. It's no joke. Oh, damn. I know that, you know, I can count myself lucky that I'm not one of the extreme cases. Because, like, for some people it gets so bad that they can't even get out of bed. Like, the worst cases can't even speak anymore. Like, I'm grateful that I'm not in that situation, at least. You know? Thanks, Dwarven Moray. I'm sorry to hear all about your health issues. Just know that we care about you, brother. I believe it or not, your videos help me get through some rough times. Take care of yourself. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad to know that too. I try to make the videos as good as I can still, despite these issues. You know, it's a bit less hands-on. unfortunately, for the most part, but I still do what I can at least. Thanks, Crikey. Food is fake now. Notice the bread doesn't mold. Yeah. Yeah, ultra-processed food is bad for you. We know that. I wish that was it. But cleaning up my diet does not help with it, unfortunately. I wish it did. Your content is still entertaining. That's good to know. Haven't noticed any significant drop in quality. What happened to your Twitter? I deleted it a while ago. After Elon doing you-know-what gesture in public. That was kind of the last straw for me. Yeah, American bread is terrible. I mean, food quality in general. Food quality in North America, like, oh man. You know it's bad when English food that has a reputation for being bland, right? That's the stereotype. And by the way, yeah, it's kind of true. Like, from first-hand experience, yeah, it's not wrong. But even then, the food quality in the UK is so much higher. Like the quality of groceries. Restaurants, not so much. I actually prefer Canadian restaurants for the most part. But the food you get at grocery stores, and the bread in particular, oh man. Worlds apart. It kind of reminded me how much I've just gotten used to the poor quality here, you know? Like, I pick the best that I can. And, you know, there are some bakeries here, like Cobb's, for example. By North American standards, it's good. You know, it's decent enough bread, but when you compare it to European stuff, Twitter is a cesspool now, you're not missing out. Yeah, I know. All right, see you, Nat. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. Getting rid of Twitter is good for mental health. Oh, yeah. It also brings out the worst in you. It really does. I gotten into some arguments where afterwards I'm like, why the hell did I even do that? Why did I even engage in that? It brings out the worst in you. It really does. The best English food I've ever had was based off of Indian recipes. I mean, that's also kind of what I found in England. Like, we had some British food at various places, and then went to an Italian restaurant, and immediately I was like, yes, this is better. But the interesting thing is, like I said, I generally prefer Canadian restaurants, but I do have to say, the Italian restaurant we went to in, where was that? In Leeds. That was a real, no wait. We went to one in Leeds and one in, I forgot where it was. And those were both better than the Italian restaurants that I know here. But overall, overall, I do like Canadian restaurants a bit more. Have you seen what Metatron is tweeting now? I haven't seen his tweets, but I've seen some videos pop up that made me unsubscribe. I didn't realize, like, he does nothing but political videos now, right-wing political videos. I don't even want to say any more about that because it is politics, which is off limits on this channel. But man, that was an oof. He made a separate channel for historical stuff instead of a separate channel for his political stuff? What? That's bizarre. Okay. Also terribly disappointed about him effectively taking grifter money. I don't know anything about that, but yeah, anyway, let's not. Okay. Politics. I'm not apolitical, just to point that out. I'm not one of those people who are like, nah, I don't need politics in my life. I'm not political. Like, politics affect how you live every day. Like, you can't really afford to be apolitical, in my opinion. Although I very much understand being so jaded and frustrated that you don't even want to see it. You don't want to engage with it. You don't want to hear the constant bad news. I get that. But yeah, I'm not doing this on the channel. I don't even want to set up a second channel for that. You know? Yeah, how could you not be jaded about it at this point? What about cooking channel? I'm not good at cooking. I've never had the time for it, and now I don't have the energy either. You know? Oh yeah. Most of it is rage bait straw manning. You're absolutely right. Yep. Me botching recipes would be awesome. I don't know about that. It would probably be funny for you to watch. I mean, I could do recipes. And I can bake, actually. Certain things. I mean, I can do like pizza dough and bread and stuff. Cake, not so much. A parody of a food channel? I'm sure that's been done plenty. I love videos like the one with you by the fireplace rambling on topics. Oh, thank you, QKen, for sending 10 gift memberships. So 10 of you will enjoy a free membership thanks to QKen. Do say thank you. 'Tis only polite. Oh yeah, Hunter is one of them who got one. Nice. Excellent. Very much appreciated. Have you been thinking about retirement? Thinking about it? Honestly, yes. But I'm way too young. Like, I'm in my 40s. I mean, come on. Early 40s. You know? That's crazy to even think about it. But on some days where I feel like absolute shit and don't know how to get through the day, yeah, the thought occurs. But this is already the best thing I can be doing in that situation. So, you know, I am very privileged. Thank you, Too Spooky for Me. I appreciate the generous super chat. I love the recent videos on the flail. Was a bit surprised it never went into the advantage of being able to follow through with your attacks, which would make follow-ups easier compared to the mace, which is a lot stiffer. I mean, you can do that with a mace too. I would agree. Yeah, you have a point in that, like you can pull it through a little bit easier. I mean, you can do it with a mace too, but it depends a little bit on how you do it. I mean, then again, on a mace you have to hit with the head anyway. So generally, it's not really going to be past the target. So you should often be able to pull it through anyway, at least when it bounces. You know, quite often a mace hits the target and bounces a little bit, and that allows you to pull it through. So I don't think that should really be too much of a problem. It might be a little easier with the flail, but at the same time, the flail also does weird things, you know, where it kind of pulls in different directions sometimes. Thanks again, QKen. Been a viewer for 10 years. Figured now was a good time to share. Much obliged. You're definitely helping out there, and you're helping other people out too. They can check out the memberships. By the way, as a new member, if you want to see the extra content, you have to go to my community tab on my channel because that's where I generally post links. I just realized earlier today I should probably actually do it differently. So far I've done it by putting up videos unlisted and then posting the link in a community post and on Patreon as well, so that both the members and the patrons can find the video. It might be more effective, it might be easier for people to find stuff if I upload them as member only. But the downside of that is then I have to also upload it separately on Patreon so that they have access to it, you know. But generally, it's so far it's been posted in community posts that are members only. Okay, I can tell that I'm starting to crash here. So I probably can't go much longer. I'd like to, because we've had good conversations going here. But I don't think I should push it much further. So I'm sort of crashing out. I believe I'm not, but crash outs are in the eye of the beholder, right? That's what I would think. Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I'm getting too tired, and you know, I don't want too much of those flu-like CFS symptoms. So yeah, thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, that's it really. Take care, folks.